So by now, you have probably gone through 3 or 4 rounds of job interviews. You started with the recruiter or the HR business partner, then your future line manager, and maybe even a couple of your potential peers. Chances are you have also completed a case study assignment and sat through a panel interview too. Next, you are invited to the final round, the grandparent interview, which is with the skip level manager. The person could be the CEO or another very senior executive in the company. It is the last step in the process. So how do you prepare for it? In this video, I want to share with you how I prepared for the final round of my job interview with a board member from the group when I was interviewing for the vice president position at the largest organization in Sweden by market cap with an evaluation of $85 billion globally. First, let's understand what's the difference between a line manager interview and a grandparent interview. Back to my case as an example. My direct manager was the president of the division, and he was the one who made the hiring decision. He has the ownership of the division's business and is directly responsible for the P&L. He knows exactly what kind of profile he needs in his management team to help lead the division and solve these specific challenges. So in other words, the line manager has the highest decision power in terms of whether they want to hire you or not. During my interview with the president, the focus was on my technical competence, past track records, leadership, and strategic insights, particularly how I could contribute directly to the success of the division. If you are curious, the interview was operationally focused. We covered topics like selling the next generation of renewable energy solutions, how we can uplift the digital marketing strategy and expand into new markets through online and offline sales channels. So in short, the interview was really about evaluating whether I could set the right direction for my function, lead the organization's digital marketing strategy to hit our ambitious target over the next 3 years and achieve the revenue growth we've committed to. He wanted to see if I had the vision and the leadership to make that happen. But when it comes to the grandparent interview with the board member, the focus shifted. And I want to re-emphasize here, the grandparent interview is not about making the decision whether they hire you or not. They are actually not the decision maker here. It's the line manager. The grandparent is there to validate and support the choice made by the president or the line manager. So the grandparent interview wasn't really about evaluating my ability to meet immediate business needs. Instead, this interview was less about what I could do today and more about how I would fit into the company's future and continue to develop and grow there. The tone of the conversation was much more casual as well. It felt more like we were having a conversation rather than going through a structured interview process. It felt like the board member was trying to get to know me as a person. We talked about my value, what drives me, how I see myself fitting into the company's culture. This wasn't much about immediate business outcome. So how did I handle it successfully? First, you need to see it as more than just a standard Q&A session. Think of the entire interview with the grandparent as an event where your goal is to create a memorable experience for your audience. So it's not just about what you say, but about how you make them feel. You want to shift the interview into a genuine, engaging conversation, something that stands out in their day. Imagine you being a senior executive who has back-to-back business review meetings all day long. What you want to do is to make this 1 hour of interview a pleasant experience for them, not just another draining session filled with self-promotion. So instead of pitching and selling yourself, ask thoughtful questions, make it interactive, show your passion, curiosity, and a collaborative mindset. Remember, people love talking about themselves, and the more you let them speak by asking good questions, the better they will feel about the conversation. Have you ever noticed how good it feels to talk about yourself or share your ideas in a conversation? Well, there's a scientific reason behind that. When we talk, especially about ourselves, our brain releases dopamine that makes us feel good about ourselves. Psychologically, this is about self-disclosure, revealing personal information to others. When we are self-disclosing, we are building trust in a relationship. But it also gives us a boost psychologically. According to research, the more we engage in self-disclosure, the more dopamine our brain releases. This makes us feel even better. Have you ever been to an evening networking event? After a few drinks, someone starts to self-disclose. The more they talk about themselves, the more they give you their personal information. Sometimes it can feel too much as well. In a job interview settings, this is why it is also important that you create opportunities for the interviewer to talk and share as well. when they share their thoughts and experiences, you're not only making the conversation more engaging, but also making them feel good because of this nature of dopamine boost. The more positive feelings they associate with the conversation, the job interview, the more they will associate these feelings with you as a candidate. This not only strengthens your connection with the interviewer, but also gives you more insights into the position. You can then tailor your next questions or your answers to align even more closely with what they are actually looking for. By the way, I want to let you know now you can join my free executive masterclass. In the class, you will get my step-by-step roadmap on how, after being stagnant in director positions for 8 years, I eventually advanced to senior executive positions in Fortune 500 companies. You will also learn the mistake I've made and the wrong things I worked on. It's 1 hour long and it's completely free. So who is this class for? It is specially designed for directors, managers, and team leaders with international career. And you are a high performer. You have been consistently growing your career up until now. In recent years, you find yourself stuck in middle management. So if this sounds like you, I'd love to invite you to join this free executive masterclass. You can check the link below to save your spot. It's completely free. The next thing you need to do is actually really obvious, is to look up the executive who will be interviewing you online. But don't just skim the surface. You want to go deep in your research. Understand the roles they've had before, the challenges they've faced, and the impact they've made before. Go beyond the basics. So what do I mean? When it comes to the grandparent interview, I want you to take a step further. Go to the company's investor relation page and listen to at least last 3 to 4 quarterly earnings calls. Pay special attention to the questions asked during the Q&A session. And these questions are often best way to understand the company's pain points. And it's very likely that the grandparent interview, the executive or the CEO who will be interviewing you also spoke at these events. Make sure that you also check out any media articles, videos, interviews, or quotes featuring this executive. This will give you insights into their priorities, leadership style. And you want to use this information to ask these non-generic and specific questions that go beyond what you could just Google. For example, instead of asking, "What's your leadership style?" you might say, "I noticed in your recent interview with the Financial Times that you emphasized the importance of innovation as a key enabler of profitable growth. Given that the 20% profitability target, can you share how you see the leadership team could establish and reinforce a culture that encourages innovative thinking across the organization?" Next is to master the art of articulating your answer. Even if you're using storytelling, keep your response concise. Do not go longer than 2 minutes. Actually, keep your answer around 30 to 60 seconds. Simplicity and conciseness are the key here. I understand that as a leader with over 20 years of experience, it's really easy to overload your answers with unnecessary details, technical jargons, or even in-depth explanation about the projects at your current or previous companies that others do not fully understand at all. I want you to remember your audience does not need as much background information as you think to get your point. When you overwhelm your interviewer, you can leave an impression that you are actually too junior, you are too operational, which does not help reinforce your executive presence. Next is make them picture a future with you. Remember, the interview is not just about your past, it's really more about their future. Many of you are very good at showcasing your past successes and how strong you are as a candidate. But here's the thing, the more you talk about your past achievements, the harder it is for them to see how you'd operate in their environment. As you describe your past success and the challenges you've overcome, they might be thinking, sure, you were great at handling these challenges in your previous organization or your current organization, but we're different. What worked back then might not work for us. They have different solutions, products, customers, and organization culture that might be completely different from what you have used to. So as you expand on your past, you actually are creating objections in their mind. That's why you want to transition your answers from just talking about what you have done in the past to how your experience, leadership, and lessons learned can be leveraged in their specific context. Move the conversation from evaluation to collaboration. So what do I mean? I meant you need to help them visualize how having you on their executive team can impact their future positively. You want to show them what it will be like to work with you and lead the organization together. Remember, decision making is more about emotion than logic. People often make decisions based on how they feel first, And then they use logic to justify these decisions. Same reason why you would buy a Rolex watch, a luxurious car, a Louis Vuitton bag. Because you already made the decision based on how you feel first, and you use logics to justify why you buy that. Back to the job interview. The interviewer already have a sense of whether they like a candidate or not. Once they feel good about someone, they start backing it up with logical reasons like candidates' track records, relevant experience, or industry background. So when you help them visualize your presence in the leadership team and how you would function within their organization, you are engaging the emotional side of their brain in your favor. And do not ask, what does it take to succeed here? I've said it many times. This approach can work well when you are interviewing for a middle management or something more junior. It shows that you are eager to understand what's required to thrive in this role. However, if you ask this question during an executive job interview with one of the most senior people in the company, it raises concerns. The reason is that they might wonder why you don't already know what it takes to succeed here. You will be the executive. You are expected to lead here. When you ask the question about what it takes to succeed in this role, it actually signals a lack of leadership. It could imply that you require guidance and a clear definition of the role. Back to my example, during my interview, I was expected to be the advisor who defines what it takes to succeed in this role here. I have a target, but no one is going to define for me. Now let me leave you with this video to find out the 5 mistakes that you can make in a job interview that would cost you the executive job offer. I'll see you there.